Steve Jobs is the biggest icon for technology advancement. He was the founder of companies Apple, Pixar, and Next. He revolutionized the way people use technology. Jobs unfortunately died on October 5, 2011, but in 2005 made one of the most influential commencement speeches to Stanford University. Jobs' speech started out with a strong opening by saying, "I am honored to be with you today for your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world." Then he states that he will be using the rule of three stories, which is one of the most common ways of storytelling. He uses a very simple structure and very simple sentences. The first story he talks about is connecting the dots. He speaks about how he was adopted and felt bad that he was using his parents' savings on something he didn't like and decided to drop out and trust that it would all work out okay. He then dropped in on classes like calligraphy, which didn't make sense to him why he was taking it then, but made sense 10 years later. He then says, so you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, he says, and it has made all the difference in my life. Everything happens for a reason, and God will guide you.
I'm honored to be with you today for your commencement from one of the finest universities in the world. Truth be told, I never graduated from college, and this is the closest I've ever gotten to a college graduation. Today, I want to tell you 3 stories from my life. That's it. No big deal. Just 3 stories. The first story is about connecting the dots.
The next story is about love and loss. Jobs goes on to say what he loved doing, working at Apple. Soon took a left turn when he was fired from the company he actually started. He found his passion early on developing Apple. He was publicly fired and said it was the best thing that ever happened to him. Jobs ended up starting a company called Next and another one called Pixar. Pixar is the biggest animation company ever. He was pretty sure that none of this would have happened if he wasn't far from Apple. When life hits you hard in the head with a brick, don't lose faith. It's just karma saying something good will happen to you. The only thing that kept him going was that he loved what he did. He needed to find that love and passion. He used repetition, repeated this line twice.
Hope of any practical application in my life. But 10 years later, when we were designing the first Macintosh computer, it all came back to me. And we designed it all into the Mac. It was the first computer with beautiful typography. If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely that no personal computer would have them. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. Of course, it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later. Again, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference. My second story is about love and...
The third story is about death. He speaks about it when he was 17, he read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, something you'll most certainly be right," meaning one day you will eventually die. This quote definitely made an impression on him, and for the next 33 years, he said that every morning he would look at himself in the mirror and say, "Would I want to do what I am about to do today?" And when his answer is no for too many days in a row, he knows he needs to change something. Remembering that he will be dead soon is the most important tool he's ever encountered to help him make the big choices in life. Remembering that he'll be dead soon is the most important tool he's ever encountered to help him make the best choices. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all prior fear of embarrassment or failure, These things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way he knows to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You're already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. Which was important that he said. Don't be trapped by dogma. Don't let other opinions interfere with your voice. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Everything else is secondary, which was something that was always important to him.
Is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
Lastly, he says that when he was young, there was a publication called the Whole Earth Catalog. It was the Bible of his generation. But the day the publication ended, on the back it said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish," which was the name of his speech he gave at Stanford. Basically, God will guide you. Everything happens for a reason, and only time will tell. These are the words he lived by. He said that everything was going to happen, and it did. Even when he went through hardships and being fired, etc. Everything he said in his speech was a metaphor for life, death, and rebirth, and he as well used pathos, ethos, and logos, and many other rhetorical advices to get his message out. Thank you.